Shut up, Ace.
Salutations, Internet! My name is Ace, and there is one thing I cannot shut up about. Abobo's Big Adventure. Abobo's Big Adventure, or as I like to call it,
Give me back my son! Son! Give me back my son! My son! Son!
is a flash game starring the infamous villain of Double Dragon, Abobo. Abobo's Big Adventure was created with the goal of being the ultimate tribute to the NES. Now, the Nintendo Entertainment System certainly is something to celebrate. It is the reason for the return of the home video game consoles in the United States after the crash of 1983. Still, calling your game the ultimate tribute to it? That has to be one of the best video games ever made then. Well, let's grab our controllers and see whether or not this game truly is the ultimate tribute to the NES. Abobo's Big Adventure starts out with Abobo's son, Abobo, getting kidnapped, in a parody of the opening scene in Double Dragon. Abobo arrives shortly after, discovering his son is missing, and sets out on an adventure through NES land to rescue him. It's a pretty simple story, reminiscent of the time these games were made. The controls for the game are also pretty simple. Though it's a game you would play on your computer, it replicates an NES controller. You use the arrow keys to move, the A key acts as the A button, and the S key acts like the B button. You can also pause with the P key and return to the main menu with the M key if you want. Now, you don't have to play with a keyboard. There's even a guide on the official Abobo's Big Adventure website for how to play with a controller, but honestly, the controls work just fine with the keyboard. Abobo's adventure through NES land will take him to 8 different levels, each based off of 1 or 2 NES games. You've got a Double Dragon level, Super Mario Bros. Level, an Urban Champion level, a Legend of Zelda level, a Balloon Fight level mixed with a Pro Wrestling level, a Mega Man level, a Contra level, and finally, a Punch-Out level. The simple goal of each level is to make it to the end and fight a boss. Though I guess the Urban Champion level is just a boss fight, now that I think about it. Each level has its controls change based on which game it's based on. For example, in the Double Dragon stage, you move Abobo around by using the arrow keys. Pressing the A key will allow Abobo to punch, and the S key will allow him to kick. It actually feels like I'm playing Double Dragon, with some variation. Double tapping left or right will let Abobo run in that direction. You can also do some unique attacks while running, like this dropkick, that I can't ever seem to hit anything with. Though, you can't use any of these new attacks if you don't have any rage in your rage meter. Underneath the health bar is the rage meter. Attacking enemies fills it, while getting hurt drains it. Once it's full, you can press A and S together to unleash a rage move. It's essentially a screen nuke, but there's a different one based on the level you're in. My personal favorite is the Death Blossom. The other levels also feel just like the respective game they're based on. The Super Mario level feels like Super Mario, Mega Man feels like Mega Man, and so on. The controls for this game are just perfect. One thing that I feel stands out for this game is actually the level design. The stages are very similar to the games they're based on, but the enemies on the other hand come from many different games. You've got Goombas, Excite Bike, Dig Dug, Death, 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 and Beardy Barrel. Now that I think about it, I don't think that's from an actual video game. It becomes so much fun seeing such an array of characters show up in games they're not seen in. It kinda makes the world the game exists in feel just a tinge more alive. The music is about what you'd expect. It's music from many NES games, with the levels of each game having their respective songs. Mega Man music for the Mega Man stage, the Balloon Fight level has the Balloon Fight theme. Boss fights and cutscenes are usually where the music is sometimes different. Hey, bosses are mine to talk about. That doesn't mean I can't talk about them. Yeah, but I'm the expert. So let me talk about them, okay? Alright, just keep it short. So for bosses, Abobo's Big Adventure actually keeps it pretty simple. There's never anything complex you need to do during any of the boss fights, which is fine as this game bases itself off the simple NES classics of the 80s.
You have a standard boss like Shooter Gavin, some good bosses like Mecha Bobo and Mega Shark, a joke boss with Urban Champ, 2 bosses that go on a bit too long with the Old Man and Kirby, and a couple of great boss fights with the Amazon and Little Mac. The Amazon in particular is quite a fight. During the balloon fight level, he constantly taunts and attacks you. However, once you reach the end of the level, he falls into a wrestling arena, with Abobo following. In this boss fight, you can punch and kick, hopefully knocking the Amazon down. From there, you can pick him up and either Irish whip him by pressing the A key and either the left or right keys, or perform one of several moves by pressing the B key in any direction. You gotta do it fast or the Amazon will instead do one of his moves on you. He can even throw you out of the ring. You can't pick up some chairs and hit him to do some big damage if this happens though. If you're inside the ring and happen to get the Amazon to the ground, you can climb up the ring post to jump off and slam into him. So for a boss fight based off of a simple NES game, there's actually quite a lot you can do. But it doesn't end there. After performing a rage attack, Abobo summons into the ring the Ultimate Warrior, Rowdy Roddy Piper, The Undertaker, and Hulk Hogan. Each take turns in laying a smackdown on the Amazon. Afterwards, Abobo grabs the Amazon and launches into the air all the way up to the moon, and slams him all the way down with a move so awesome, it destroys everything around the ring.
But that's nothing compared to the final boss. We're not talking about that yet. Aww. Well, I could definitely say there's a lot of good things in this video game. From the music, to the design, and the characters, there's a ton to enjoy. However, there is one thing that just kinda irks me. Just a little bit.
The violence. Now, I'm not against violence and gore in video games, but Abobo's Big Adventure goes just a little bit too far with it, in my opinion. I mean, enemies get impaled, explode, barfed out. It's just weird for me to see such graphic stuff show up in a game that looks like something I'd play when I was a kid. I guess I can just attribute this to the fact that Abobo is actually a villain, so it makes sense he'd decapitate a child and eat their head to heal some of his health and then throw their body at the next enemy he sees. Still, the absurdity of all this violence does lead to some funny moments, like how you can go up this wall just like you could in the original Double Dragon, only while that really didn't do anything in the original game, here it takes you to a secret area where the Super Mario 2 characters are having a private S&M party. There's actually a lot of secrets in this game, now that I think about it. Instead of performing a fatality on the Urban Champ, you could do a friendship. You could also find Toad in his secret area and do what everyone wanted to do to him whenever they heard the princess was in another castle, or find some dancing zombies by going back a bit in a level. The only reason for finding these secrets would be to unlock the medals. Abobo's Big Adventure was posted onto Newgrounds, a website that hosts a plethora of Flash animation and video games. The website has a medal system, similar to achievements and trophies from modern-day video game systems. As such, Abobo's Big Adventure has its own medals that act as achievements. There's about 100 of them, some you unlock easily and others you have to hunt for. You don't really get anything for getting them all, but I can see them as a reason to go back through the game again. The game also has some extra mini-games within it, such as a 2-player fighting game, and this weird one where Abobo rides Falcor from the Neverending Story. You actually can't access these until you beat the game once, so... Like I said earlier, there isn't much to the story. There are some cutscenes to transition Abobo to the next stage, like when he accidentally flushes himself down a toilet, or when Amazon tricks him into thinking he found his son, or when Abobo goes Rambo for the Concha level, and then kills Rambo. It isn't until Kirby barfs up Doc from Punch-Out that anything ever gets explained. It turns out that Little Mac has gone crazy with his power after Doc finished training him. To prove that he's the strongest in NES land, he kidnapped a boy. So Doc trains Abobo to fight Little Mac, and it's here that we get our final boss.
let me talk about the final boss. Alright. Go ahead.
The final boss fight plays kinda like the classic game Punch-Out! However, instead of your character being at the bottom of the screen, Abobo is in the middle, where you would normally fight your opponent. This is pretty cool since you would normally control Little Mac in the bottom of the screen, so it's a neat change of perspective. As this is based on Punch-Out!, the controls are a little different than the rest of the game. The left and right arrow keys allow Abobo to dodge any attacks, if you can time it right. The A and S key have Abobo do a spin jab. This is a great move that can actually tire out Little Mac if you can manage to hit him with it. Pressing the down key, along with either the A or S key, will have Abobo do a left or right hook. It's a fast attack that can do some decent damage. However, your strongest attack is the uppercut, which you can do by pressing the up key and either the A or S key. It's hard to hit with, but it does some big damage. Little Mac is a spry guy. He can easily dodge most of your attacks, so you'll have to work in attacking him as you dodge his attacks to effectively fight him. Once you knock his health down, he'll go down for the count. You have to knock him down a total of 3 times in one round. You have 3 rounds to do this. If you're unsuccessful, then you'll automatically lose. However, after you knock Little Mac down twice, he'll start to cheat. He stuns Abobo and takes the time powering up with a smorgasbord of power-ups. And he tops it off with a mushroom from Super Mario Bros., transforming Little Mac into Big Mac. This is a great change to the fight, as Big Mac changes his attacks. They now hit harder and are harder to dodge. Well, sorta. I do find it a bit easier, as he'll always do the same 3 attacks in a row. If you happen to reach the end of the round when fighting Big Mac, he'll stay as Big Mac, and you'll have to knock him down 3 more times. Thankfully, you can heal your health by listening to the full conversation between the rounds. I actually love the banter here. Big Mac is such an asshole, and Doc will actually reveal some secrets about the game if you want to go back and find them. The rage attacks are also a sight to behold. They're hard to get, as any attack Abobo takes will knock the meter down quite a bit, but it's fun seeing Abobo use many of the attacks the opponents in Punch-Out! Used. However, none of them top the ultimate rage attack Abobo does after knocking out Big Mac for the final time. Abobo equips the ultimate in badness, the Power Glove, and delivers the most epic, amazing, sick-ass attack in all video games. An uppercut so powerful, it decapitates Little Mac's head! Oh man, it just goes on and on and on and on, all the way to a flagpole. And of course you get 6 fireworks for that.
Are you satisfied with that? It's such a fun final boss fight. It certainly is. And the fun doesn't end there.
Abobo has defeated Little Mac and rescues Aboboy. They share a happy moment as the crowd cheers them on. It looks like they're gonna live happily ever. Oh. Right. They're villains. Well, Abobo and Aboboy slaughter the crowd, and this time they live happily ever after. Or not. Yeesh, at this point it's just overkill.
And that was Abobo's Big Adventure. Does it live up to the title of the ultimate tribute to the NES? Absolutely.
Abobo's Big Adventure remembers not just the games of the NES, but the people who played them. Who wouldn't think it's cool to see many characters from classic games live in a world based off of those classic games? The gameplay is great, the music's great, the ending is great. Abobo's Big Adventure is not just a fantastic Flash game, but a fantastic video game.
So, in my opinion, Abobo's Big Adventure doesn't just get 1 thumbs up, it gets 2 thumbs up. You know, this game has made me wonder if there are any other fantastic Flash games out there. Maybe I'll take a look at some more someday. Anyways, my name is Ace, and this was just one game I could not shut up about.